Welcome to the fascinating world of roundworms, scientifically known as Nemathelminthes. In our journey today, we are going to explore the unique anatomy, incredible survival strategies, and the surprising mathematics behind these highly successful creatures. Whether they are microscopic soil dwellers or massive parasites, understanding their general characters is foundational for any zoology student. Let us dive in and discover what makes them so special. To start, imagine you are holding a long, unsegmented water balloon that has a sturdy plastic straw running straight through its center. In this analogy, the balloon is the worm's outer body wall. The water inside is the internal fluid, and the straw is its digestive tract. This tube within a tube design is the absolute hallmark of the phylum Nemathelminthes. It is a highly efficient anatomical layout that allows them to process food continuously. This simple yet effective structure is a major reason why they are incredibly successful creatures, found everywhere from the deepest ocean trenches to the soil in your backyard. Now that we understand their basic layout, let us look at the formal scientific definition of Nemathelminthes. They are defined as unsegmented, bilaterally symmetrical, and triploblastic invertebrates. Don't let these big words intimidate you. Unsegmented simply means their bodies are smooth and continuous, completely unlike the ringed bodies of earthworms you might be familiar with. Bilaterally symmetrical means if you cut them down the middle, the left and right sides are perfect mirror images. Finally, triploblastic indicates that they develop from three primary embryonic tissue layers: the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm. These layers form all their specialized tissues. Building on those tissue layers, we come to a defining feature: the pseudocoelom. Nematodes are pseudocoelomates, which means they have a false body cavity. Why do we call it false? In higher animals, the body cavity is completely lined by tissue derived from the mesoderm. However, in roundworms, this fluid-filled space inside them is only partially lined by mesoderm tissue. Despite being termed false, this cavity is incredibly functional. It provides space for internal organs to develop and function independently of the body wall, representing a major evolutionary stepping stone in the animal kingdom. Understanding their anatomy leads us to ask, why is it so important for us to study these creatures? First, they play a massive role in global ecology. In soil health, millions of microscopic nematodes recycle nutrients and decompose organic matter. Without them, our agricultural systems would struggle to maintain fertile soil. On the darker side, many Nemathelminthes are notorious parasites. They cause severe diseases in humans, pets, and livestock. For example, the human intestinal roundworm, hookworms, and pinworms affect billions of people worldwide, causing malnutrition and severe anemia. Understanding them is absolutely critical for protecting global public health. This brings us to a fascinating intersection of disciplines. You might be wondering how math applies to a biological worm. Because many nematodes are parasites facing huge odds against survival, they must produce an astronomical number of eggs to ensure their species continues. The chances of any single egg surviving the outside environment and successfully infecting a new host are incredibly close to zero. To counter this, evolution has pushed their reproductive rates to extreme maximums. We can actually model their reproductive survival strategy using basic mathematical principles to truly grasp the scale of their biological investment. Let us look at the mathematical model for this reproductive strategy. The formula is n equals R times T. Conceptually, this simple linear equation shows that the total reproductive output is directly proportional to both the daily rate and the lifespan. Here, the variable n represents the total number of eggs produced by a female nematode over a specific period. The variable r represents the reproductive rate, which is the number of eggs laid per day. Finally, the variable t represents the total time the worm is actively reproducing, measured in days. If either the daily rate or the lifespan increases, the total number of eggs produced increases dramatically, ensuring the parasite's survival. Now that we have our formula, let us apply it to a real-world example involving the giant human roundworm, known scientifically as Ascaris lumbricoides. We are given that a healthy adult female Ascaris has an astonishing reproductive rate, laying approximately 200,000 eggs every single day. We are also given that she lives and reproduces for 1.5 years, which is exactly 547 days. We are asked to find the total number of eggs she will produce in her lifetime. We substitute our given values into the equation, multiplying 200,000 by 547. The final answer is 109,400,000 eggs. Physically, this massive number demonstrates how heavily they invest in reproduction to overcome the harsh odds of survival. Moving from reproduction to physical structure, we encounter another fascinating adaptation. Nemathelminthes completely lack a rigid bony skeleton. So how do they maintain their shape? They rely entirely on the pressure of the fluid inside their false body cavity, the pseudocoelom. This pressurized fluid acts as a hydrostatic skeleton. When the worm's muscles contract, they push against this incompressible fluid. Because the fluid cannot be squished, it pushes back, providing structural support and maintaining the worm's cylindrical shape. This internal pressure is a perfect substitute for a rigid bone structure. We can model this physical structure mathematically. The formula is P equals F divided by A. Conceptually, this equation tells us that the pressure inside the worm is equal to the muscle force divided by the area it acts upon. The variable P represents the internal hydrostatic pressure of the worm, measured in pascals. The variable F represents the force exerted by the worm's longitudinal muscles as they contract, measured in newtons. The variable A represents the cross-sectional area of the worm's body cavity, measured in square meters. If the worm contracts its muscles harder, increasing the force F, the internal pressure P increases, making the worm stiffen. Let us see this formula in action to understand the physical mechanics of how a roundworm moves. Imagine a tiny soil nematode. We are given that its longitudinal muscles contract, exerting a total inward force of 0.02 newtons. We are also given that the cross-sectional area of its body cavity is 0.00004 square meters. We are asked to find the internal hydrostatic pressure generated by this contraction. We plug our known values into the pressure equation, dividing the small force by the extremely small area. This ratio represents the concentration of force. The final answer is an internal pressure of 500 pascals. This shows exactly how a tiny muscle contraction creates significant internal stiffness. That calculated pressure of 500 pascals leads us to a crucial anatomical quirk. Nemathelminthes only have longitudinal muscles, which run lengthwise down their bodies. They completely lack the circular muscles that earthworms use to stretch and squeeze. Because they only have these lengthwise muscles, they rely entirely on that high internal hydrostatic pressure to push back against the muscle contractions. When a muscle on one side contracts, the worm bends. The high pressure then forces the body to spring back when the muscle relaxes. This unique interaction between muscle and pressure results in their characteristic whip-like thrashing movement through soil or host tissues. Let us visualize everything we have discussed by looking at this cross-section diagram of a nematode. Starting from the outside, you can see the sturdy outer ring labeled cuticle and epidermis. Just inside that, we have the longitudinal muscles. Notice the large light blue region taking up most of the interior. This is the pseudocoelom, the fluid-filled cavity. The outward-pointing arrows clearly illustrate the hydrostatic pressure pushing against the body wall, maintaining the worm's shape. Finally, right in the center, we see the inner tube, the intestine or digestive tract. This perfectly captures the tube within a tube design and shows how the internal pressure acts as a skeleton. We have covered a lot of ground today, so let us review the key takeaways. First, Nemathelminthes are a highly successful phylum of unsegmented roundworms, defined by their efficient tube-within-a-tube body plan. Second, they possess a unique false body cavity called a pseudocoelom. This cavity is filled with fluid under high pressure, acting as a hydrostatic skeleton that allows them to maintain their shape and move without any bones. Finally, we saw how mathematical models help us understand their extreme reproductive adaptations, producing millions of eggs to survive harsh environments. You now have a complete foundational understanding of the general characters of Nemathelminthes. Great job!